Tonight, the quiet border region between Thailand and Cambodia has been shattered by the sounds of war. The calm was broken by a sudden and violent escalation of a long-simmering dispute. What began as small arms fire quickly grew into a major military confrontation. Reports from the ground describe a chaotic scene of artillery shells and rocket fire tearing through the contested land near the ancient Preah Vihear temple. The fighting has been fierce, turning what was a point of national pride into a battlefield. Residents in Thailand's Surin province were forced to run for cover as the conflict spilled into their communities, transforming a peaceful evening into a night of terror and uncertainty for families caught in the crossfire. The situation escalated dramatically when the Thai military confirmed it had launched airstrikes. The roar of F-16 fighter jets was heard over the border, a significant show of force in this conflict. These jets targeted Cambodian military positions, marking a serious and dangerous new phase. The strikes signal that Thailand is willing to use its superior air power to press its advantage. This move has pushed the two nations from a tense standoff into active combat. The international community is now watching anxiously, concerned that this rapid escalation could spiral into a much larger and more devastating war, with consequences that would be felt far beyond this remote and disputed piece of land. The damage on the ground is already becoming clear. In Surin, a gas station was hit during the clashes, resulting in the deaths of at least 6 people. This tragic event highlights how civilians are bearing the brunt of this military action. Homes and businesses near the border have been damaged by the intense shelling. The immediate impact is one of fear and destruction. Families who have lived in this area for generations now find themselves on the front line of an international conflict. The fighting has not been contained to military targets, and the loss of innocent lives has added a tragic dimension to the political and historical grievances driving the violence. Before this major eruption, there were warning signs. Tensions had been building throughout the year. Earlier, in May 2025, a smaller skirmish had already claimed the life of a Cambodian soldier. This incident served as a grim reminder of how volatile the border situation was. In a separate event, a landmine explosion injured several Thai troops who were on patrol. These incidents were like tremors before an earthquake, signaling that the fragile peace was close to breaking. Each event added another layer of mistrust and anger, paving the way for the large-scale violence we are witnessing tonight, pushing both nations closer to the brink of a full-blown conflict. To understand today's conflict, we have to look back more than a century. The dispute is deeply rooted in history, geography, and national pride. The core of the issue dates back to a map drawn in 1907 during the French colonial era. This map established the border between what was then French Indochina and Siam, now Thailand. The map placed the historic Preah Vihear temple, a stunning Khmer architectural masterpiece, on the Cambodian side of the border. However, Thailand has long argued that the map was flawed and that the natural watershed line should place the temple and the surrounding land within its territory, creating a fundamental disagreement over sovereignty. This historical argument eventually led to a major international legal battle. In 1962, the International Court of Justice in The Hague stepped in to resolve the dispute. The court ruled in favor of Cambodia, awarding it sovereignty over the temple itself. While this ruling was legally binding, it was never fully accepted in Thailand. Many Thais felt the decision was unjust and a blow to their national identity. The ruling also left the ownership of the surrounding 4.6 square kilometers of land ambiguous, creating a gray area that has been a source of tension and military standoffs for decades since the decision was handed down. The political situation this year added fuel to this historical fire. A major scandal erupted in Thailand over a leaked phone call from June 2025. The call was between Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra and Cambodia's long-serving leader, Hun Sen. In the recording, the Thai Prime Minister's tone was perceived by many in her country as overly deferential to the Cambodian leader. This caused a political firestorm in Bangkok. Critics accused her of being weak and undermining Thailand's national interests. The backlash was swift and severe, tapping into a deep well of nationalist sentiment that has often been a powerful force in Thai politics. The fallout from that leaked phone call was immediate and destabilizing. Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra was suspended from her duties amid the public and political outcry. This created a power vacuum and intensified internal political divisions within Thailand's ruling coalition. The controversy is also viewed through the lens of a personal rivalry between Paetongtarn's father, former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, and Hun Sen. The rising nationalist fervor in Thailand made compromise with Cambodia nearly impossible. The political pressure on Thai leaders to appear strong on the border issue grew immense, setting the stage for a more aggressive posture. As the fighting rages, the human toll is mounting with each passing hour. The violence has tragically claimed the lives of civilians and soldiers on both sides of the border. In Thailand, reports confirm that at least 11 to 14 people have been killed so far. The victims include an 8-year-old child, a heartbreaking loss that underscores the indiscriminate nature of the conflict. Dozens more have been injured, overwhelming local hospitals and medical clinics. These are not just statistics, they are parents, children, and neighbors whose lives have been irrevocably shattered by the sudden eruption of artillery and gunfire in their once peaceful communities. The diplomatic relationship between the two neighboring countries has completely collapsed. In a swift and decisive response to the fighting, Thailand withdrew its ambassador from the Cambodian capital of Phnom Penh. It did not stop there. The government in Bangkok also expelled the Cambodian envoy from Thailand, a move that signals a complete breakdown in communication channels. Furthermore, Thailand has sealed all land border crossings between the two nations, grinding trade and travel to a halt. This severs a vital economic and social link, isolating the two countries from one another at a time when dialogue is needed most. For ordinary people living along the border, life has been turned upside down. Thousands have been forced to flee their homes with little more than the clothes on their backs. They have become refugees in their own country, seeking shelter in temporary camps set up in schools and temples far from the danger zone. Their stories are ones of fear and loss. They speak of abandoning their farms, their livestock, and their livelihoods, uncertain if they will ever have anything to return to. These communities, which have coexisted for generations, are now divided by military lines and mutual suspicion, their futures clouded by the conflict. In response to the escalating violence, Cambodia has refused direct negotiations and has instead taken its case to the world stage. The Cambodian government has formally requested an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council. This move seeks to internationalize the conflict, bringing global pressure to bear on Thailand. By appealing to the United Nations, Cambodia hopes to level the playing field, as Thailand possesses a much larger and more technologically advanced military. This diplomatic maneuver effectively bypasses regional solutions and places the crisis squarely in the hands of the world's most powerful deliberative body, hoping for intervention. As the world watches, the international community is urgently calling for peace. The United States and the United Nations have both issued strong statements, demanding an immediate ceasefire and urging both sides to protect civilian lives. They are pushing for a return to the negotiating table before the conflict spirals further out of control. Regional powers, including China and Malaysia, have also expressed deep concern. The European Union has echoed these calls for restraint. The fear among these global actors is that a prolonged war between Thailand and Cambodia could destabilize the entire Southeast Asian region and undermine the unity of ASEAN, the regional cooperative body. Comparing the two militaries reveals a significant imbalance. Thailand has a modern and well-equipped fighting force, with a clear advantage in air power, as demonstrated by the F-16 airstrikes. Its navy and army are also larger and have more advanced weaponry than Cambodia's. Cambodia's military, while experienced in ground combat, lacks the sophisticated hardware of its neighbor. This military disparity means that in a sustained, conventional war, Thailand would likely have the upper hand. However, Cambodia could resort to guerrilla tactics and international political pressure to counter this advantage, potentially leading to a long and drawn-out conflict with no clear winner. Looking ahead, several potential outcomes are on the table, each with profound implications. The best-case scenario is that international pressure succeeds, and both nations agree to a ceasefire and return to diplomatic talks. This could involve mediation from a neutral third party such as the United Nations or a trusted ASEAN member state. These talks would be difficult, tasked with not only ending the current violence, but also addressing the century-old border dispute that lies at its heart. A lasting peace would require a level of compromise that has, until now, proven to be elusive for both sides. However, a darker path is also possible. The conflict could continue to escalate. More airstrikes and ground assaults could lead to a full-scale war, causing a major humanitarian crisis with thousands more casualties and displaced people. This would have devastating economic consequences for both countries and could damage Thailand's international standing. The crisis also threatens to prolong the political instability within Thailand. The path forward is fraught with danger, and the choices made in the coming days will determine whether this border region returns to a fragile peace or descends into a wider, more tragic war.